Now, this week marks the 50th anniversary of the most important trial in our country's history, the notorious Rivonia Trial, in which Nelson Mandela, along with 7 other trialists, were convicted to life imprisonment for crimes against the state in 1964. Now, in what many regard as his most powerful speech, Nelson Mandela stood before the court and said his final words to the world before being sentenced to Robben Island for the next 27 years. Here's an excerpt from that speech.
I have cherished the idea of a democratic and free society in which all persons will live together in harmony and with equal opportunities. It is an idea for which I hope to live for. But my Lord, if it needs be, it is an idea for which I am prepared to die.
And now, 20 years into democracy, the Rivonia Trial anniversary marks an important milestone in the history of our country. And with us in studio to give us their insights is Nicholas Walpe, CEO of Lily's Leaf and son of Harold Walpe, the political economist and anti-apartheid activist who was one of 4 political prisoners who escaped the country in 1963, and Anton Welts, director of Stefan Welts & Co. Gentlemen, good morning and welcome to the show.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
Nicholas, I don't think it can be overemphasized how important it is for us to remember the history of our country. And so you talk about the Rivonia Trial. How would you discuss it in terms of global significance and country significance?
Well, I think that you can't separate the two. I think the fundamental importance of the Rivonia Trial, apart from the fact that these individuals faced the prospect of death, what the other important aspect was it provided a platform, an ideal platform from which to convey the message as to what the aims and objectives of the liberation struggle are about and why they moved to armed struggle. Because up until that point, there was censorship, they were blocked, they did not have access to the media or any forms of the media to put their side of the story. And as Rusty Bernstein said, this was the ideal opportunity to convey that message without it being censored, blocked, or distorted. And that is why they took the decision not to take the stand, but to use the stand as a platform to convey the message. And that's why Nelson's speech or statement from the dock, "I am prepared to die," is so significant, because it set out clearly what the aims and objectives of the struggle were about and why they were left with no option other than to move to armed struggle. And I think that, along with the fact that at the end of the case, the trial, they were sentenced to life imprisonment.
Yeah, and without that crucial moment, of course, we wouldn't be enjoying 20 years of democracy as we are. And Anton, I mean, 50 years down the line, we are celebrating and commemorating this occasion with a very special art piece by Anne-Marie, and I understand that it's called Never Again.
Never Again, quite.
Tell me about how this piece is going to play a significant role in remembering this day.
It's something that she made in memory of the prisoners who fell to their deaths from the 10th floor of John Vorster Square. So what this depicts is room 1024 in John Vorster Square, where so many political prisoners allegedly fell to their deaths, and it depicts the two policemen, an open window, an upturned chair, and the 2 of them sitting looking at the window. And I think any art should reflect what is happening in society at the time. And this, I think, as a piece by Anne, is particularly important as it commemorates the atrocities that took place. Since 1962, if one looks back at the list of prisoners who died in captivity, from 1962 onward, there were deaths in captivity with the police, and it's something that I certainly wasn't aware of until I had a look at the story of Ahmed Timol, and this is particularly relevant in that it should never be allowed to happen again.
And then, so tell us, in kind of fostering that memory and helping us as a new generation also to keep that in mind and to treasure that memory, how will you be commemorating the next few days in honor of the 50th anniversary of the trial?
Well, I think it's quite interesting because last year, and it reminds me of a comment that Andrew Malengeni gave last year, where he turned to me and he said, "Nick, I think we're the only country in the world that celebrates people being imprisoned." It's not about celebrating. It is about ensuring that the memory and the legacy of what they stood for and the sacrifices that they were prepared to make are preserved, maintained, and I would like to say inculcated into the minds of all South Africans, particularly the born free, that they realize and understand that this freedom that they enjoy, that you enjoy today.
Yes.
Because I've often heard how you talk about the opportunities on your show, that you understand that that came from somewhere. It was not God-given, even though it should have been God-given.
Yes.
And it's an inalienable right. But that inalienable right had to be brought about by the sacrifices that these individuals... The outcome is that tonight we're going to have an event which will commemorate the 50th anniversary of the verdict and the sentencing, which occurred on the 11th and 12th of June, respectively.
Okay. Well, gentlemen, thank you very much for coming in and, you know, kind of helping us to remember this very, very important milestone in our country's history. And I think names which will be remembered forever and ever. Nelson Mandela, Walter Sisulu, Dennis Goldberg, Govan Mbeki, Ahmed Kathrada, Lionel Rusty Bernstein, Raymond Mhlaba, James Cantor, Elias Motsoaledi, and Andrew Mlangeni. On this very, very important landmark of the 50th anniversary of the Rivonia Trial, let us all take a moment to remember these 10 people who sacrificed their lives so that we could all enjoy the freedom that we do today in this democracy, because without them, we wouldn't be who we are.